Hey, you guys. Thanks for coming to LRGA Curves today. Look, I wanted to do this on my phone so that we could... Oh, we definitely can't play that song. That's one of my faves. You guys know about Set It Off? What you know about Set It Off? What do you know? Nothing, pray tell. Nothing. LRGA, come get it fire. Can you hear me? Shh. You know, Mercury's doing a lot. Mercury's doing a lot. Hey, Bianca. Hey, DT. How y'all doing? It looks like my thing is, cloudy. Can't have that. I'd be like, wipe your camera. I guess that's just how it's looking. Okay. Happy Thursday, Bianca. Thanks for tuning in to LRGA Curves. Hope y'all are ready for a good show. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel as you enter the room. Yeah. Hello, kitty cat. DT's in the house. Thanks for coming through. Thought it's Friday on my end. Although it's Friday on my end. What's good? Love to see you here. Washing your hair properly today. Yes. Like this video. It's raining out here in California, but only for an hour. You know how we do it in California. It's only raining for an hour. So thanks for coming in to LRGA Curves today. Make sure you're smashing the like button, smashing the subscribe button on your way in. Ring my bell. Ring my bell. So you can get notified next time I upload a video. And so you can become part of the beautiful curvy community that we're growing over here in the YouTube streets. We're on our way to 3K. Woo! And I'm hyphy about it. If you're hyphy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're hyphy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're hyphy and you know it, then your toot will surely show it. If you're hyphy and you know it, clap your hands. All right, boys and girls, thanks for coming through. Let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and the exit that happened with Bozo and Garcelle exited, and we showed her video. And over here at LRGA Curves, this has been a Garcelle safe space. I know many people in the YouTube streets feel a way about how they feel. And I saw the perfect meme about it today on Instagram. And what the meme showed was a giraffe as an artist and a beautiful lady in an orange dress with a fabulous orange hat. And the giraffe, as the artist, is drawing the picture. And his picture is the top of the orange hat. So all it is an orange circle. Because his point of view, from what he could see from where he was in his, whether it's your mental capacity, your spiritual journey, your physical, you know what it is. You know how your personal stuff influences how we see this stuff. So part of why I chose to delve deeper into the subject matter that is when melanin pops on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Because it feels like these two sisters, something happened. And I'm like, how did that happen? You know what I'm saying? How did that happen? I'm definitely Team Garcelle. Yes. No slandering of Garcelle will be tolerated. Darren Hood, thanks for coming through. Thanks for being you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so no Garcelle slander will be allowed here. I mean, your POV is welcome, obviously. I mean, you also have an asshole, so hey. But as far as like vibing on it or subscribing to any Garcelle slander in any form, I won't have it. I feel like she's a melanated goddess who deserved to be on that platform, who held her own, who during her time there never gave the people not one iota of a stereotypical Black woman. She never gave them angry. She never gave them over the top. She was never too loud about it. Just like any type of stereotype that she could have possibly been, she wasn't. And when she first came on, I know that was part of people's gripe with her, was they expected her to be like Nene and like bite at everything that these microaggressive Beverly Hills thigh gap ladies was throwing at her, but she didn't. Grace in class the whole time. They would do a microaggression, Grace in class the whole time. And then they, in their insecurities, would turn it into, oh, you called me a racist. But she never said flat out, you're a racist. She didn't say that shit. And if hit dogs are hollering to the point where Kyle, Dorito, Erica, insert white lady here, on Beverly Hills, as far as their interaction with her, if they're feeling like she called them a racist without her using the word racist, then that's a lot on Garcelle already. Hey, you guys, that's too loud. Sorry, you guys. I have rambunctious young men in my house. Yes, about to be 17 and 12, you guys. Oh my God, time flew. Time flew. I swear, kids make it go by so much faster. If you don't have kids, watch. As soon as you get these kids, not only do you open up to a whole entire new place of love, but you also notice that, damn, it's January again. I don't know if I noticed for me personally, it's on hyperspeed since they got here specifically. Before that, it kind of felt like a meander. And now it's just like catapult, damn, here we are. So maybe that's the gift of children also, is the hyperspeed effect. But wow. So anyway, back to Garcelle and being over there in this super high-key aggressive environment as the first melanated Black woman on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then we had Anne-Marie come through with her BS last year. We saw that stuff, right? And Anne-Marie was all too willing to not only not get to know Garcelle, but then assign Garcelle responsibility for what these white ladies were saying to her after loudly and wrongly speaking up for herself all too many times in a highly aggressive manner, because the lady who she was talking to was like, can you stop talking about that? Can you stop talking about my esophagus? Can you stop talking about my esophagus? I really would rather you not talk about my esophagus. Aren't you like a nurse? Should you even be discussing my esophagus if I asked you to not talk about my esophagus? And the only reason I'm saying esophagus this much is that's how many times Anne-Marie brought it up. Okay, you guys, plus some. Okay, so Anne-Marie then assigned what she considered as Sutton's microaggressions by calling her angry. She assigned responsibility to Garcelle, and instead of just check Sutton herself, the way Garcelle had to check Kyle, the way Garcelle had to check Dorit, the way Garcelle had to check Erica, the way Garcelle had to check insert white lady here, Dorito, you know what I'm saying? Lisa Rinna went someplace nasty. The lip licker Diana went someplace nasty. Okay. So she held her own as the first and only melanated goddess of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to no avail. Like people were like, "Oh, she's not really that famous. What has she been doing? She had a 10-second scene in Coming to America. What has she done since? We don't care about her being fancy. Who cares about her working with Jamie Foxx on a hit sitcom for so many years? Who cares about her being a freaking supermodel? Who cares about her being an accomplished, director and producer? Who cares about all that? They were like, her fashions are whack. They were just like anything to pick apart Garcelle. And I was like, what the heck is what timeline did I skip to be having this shit in my algorithm? I'm like, but seriously though, I was, yes, tilapia looking Rena. Exactly. Yes. And, so there was all kinds of microaggressives and race baiting. And so part of, let me see, was it here? Uh-oh, I didn't want that sign. So even with Suddy Sutton, I feel like how she left it was like the lady in Roots who taught Kissy how to read. Remember her? And then she taught Kissy how to read and then lied and said she didn't. And then Kissy's parents got sold. Remember in Roots? I feel like that's kind of how high and dry Sutton left Garcelle. And part of Garcelle's awakening this season was like really seeing it. So, okay, let's get started. So, I've been confused at the inconsistency in how race related issues are framed on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let's break it down. What's happening with Garcelle and the race issue, let's say? So, Garcelle to me has been the only Black woman on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for a significant period, okay, which automatically places her in a unique position in the group dynamic, right? So when she calls out microaggressions or expresses discomfort about being treated like, differently or whatever, it's often framed as race baiting by others, particularly Kyle Dorito and a lot of other Black people, as it turns out. Okay. Now it gets tricky because on one hand, we have microaggressions versus race baiting. When Garcelle calls out microaggressions, like Kyle implying Garcelle didn't pay her auction pledge, it wasn't about the specific act, okay? It was about how Garcelle was being treated differently because she's a Black woman. In reality, microaggressions are dismissed or belittled by others, especially when race is the factor. We got to be real about that. Now, Kyle's joke about Garcelle's auction pledge could have easily been a misunderstanding, but the way it was framed, as if Garcelle was dodging a responsibility, was a low blow, and everybody knows it, right? Kyle had the option to directly ask Garcelle about it off camera, but instead, she interacted with her for a whole rest of the season and then waited for the reunion on a public platform to address it. So it felt very manipulative, right? And for Garcelle to call it out was not race baiting, in my opinion. It was about being treated unfairly in the situation where a white cast member's similar actions wouldn't have been called into question the same way. And we have a case in point. Okay. We'll get to it later. I'll mention it now because remember Sutton mentioned that Lisa Remina, as DT loves to call her, tilapia looking Rena, flip Lisa tilapia looking Rena. When Sutton took up for Garcelle, that's part of why Garcelle was cool with Sutton for a long time, was because Sutton did took up for Garcelle in their relationship before. Um, After she got called race baiter for the whole Kyle situation, remember Sutton said, well, Lisa Rinna didn't pay me for Elton John and I haven't made a big deal about it. Remember? And then it turned into a whole thick situation. Remember? And that's where Harry sauce came in. Remember vaguely? Anyway, we'll try to touch on that later. But the second thing on what's happening with Garcelle and the race issue is how Dorit's defense of her Karen-ish implication, right? So Dorit was uncomfortable in being called a Karen. And that came after Garcelle pointed out how Dorit's tone felt dismissive when she expressed herself. Again, this was perceived as a race-related issue. It's not uncommon for Black women specifically to be labeled angry or aggressive when they assert themselves. Dorit immediately went into defense, trying to distance herself from a Karen label, which is a real issue with many Black people, especially women. We experience this, right? So when Garcelle said that Dorit was being dismissive, Dorit and others flipped it to imply that Garcelle was attacking her for something that was a simple conversation, a direct example of how race dynamics are playing into this interaction. And then here we are to the Sutton ticket situation when Sutton said that Lisa Rinna didn't pay for her ticket for the Elton John. Remember that whole situation? It was handled quite different, right? Because it involves white women dealing with a payment issue. Sutton calling out Rinna about not paying for a ticket is not seen as race related because it's simply two white women with a disagreement. In this case, race wasn't a factor in how they were treated or perceived. And when Sutton speaks about the issue, like this, it doesn't get framed as race because, it doesn't involve that complex layer that Black women deal with in white spaces. People might ask themselves, why is Garcelle's response framed as race baiting? That was my main question, right? I'm like, how is this getting flipped on her when I see racism? I see what I see. I hear what I hear. I keep on telling you, if we stop calling them microaggressions and start calling them macroaggressions and treat them with the velocity with which they're intended to hurt, harm, and hinder, then we might be somewhere because we be treating them with kid gloves, walking on their feelings after they just $187. That's ridiculous. Stockholm much, right? So why is Garcelle's response framed as race baiting? She was wondering, why didn't you just call me with this? You could have just let me know. Why are you bringing that up here right now? I see you, bitch. That's all it was. And if Kyle didn't want to be seen, then she should have treated it like she would have treated anybody else. So this is where it gets frustrating and problematic. My husband got me this new copper water bottle. It's magnificent. Oh, you can't really see it. Let's see. Isn't that great? It holds a bottle of this kind of water and a half. Yeah, it's very nice. That wasn't a paid advertisement, but I should put it on my Amazon storefront. I think I will after this live. So goodbye. You guys check the description later if you like that. So I don't like that it's framed as race baiting. It triggered me. Okay. People, mainly viewers and sometimes the cast, label Garcelle's response as race baiting because they aren't used to seeing Black women call out the behavior of white women in a direct way. And that's what I'm saying. If we stop acting like it's micro shit and start calling it in real time to the person that's doing that shit, then they will be embarrassed into submission, hopefully, and start treating everybody like a freaking human. And we can stop at tiptoeing around the fact that you're a fucking racist. I see you, you see me, and now we see each other, as Nene Leakes would tell the bitches, okay? And we can move on from there. But all this tiptoeing and coddling these Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to remain calm. I hope you guys are recognizing that my tone today is really like the regular LRGA Curves back in the day when I was young. When I first started, I would talk in my, but people have been being like, wow, LRGA, you're kind of on one. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then I listened back. I was like, damn, you're kind of on one. So thank you guys for helping me. So anyway, it's triggering. when I feel like people labeled her as race baiting. Garcelle is not just a woman of color. She's a powerful voice in this environment, right? Where her experiences are often marginalized and dismissed. And IRL, as Black women in these super white spaces, we've all felt like that. Therefore, my point of view helps me to relate to that and it resonates with me. So my point of view is influenced to the point where I don't see what she says to Kyle when "why didn't you call me, bitch" got turned into race baiting. I just don't see how that happened. Okay? So calling out microaggressions or toxic behaviors is not race baiting, people. It's not. It's about setting boundaries. Okay? And standing up for yourself. That's all Garcelle was doing. But people who don't face these issues daily, or conversely, for our people who have gotten all too used to facing it daily and absorbing it rather than respond because of what they may or may not have to lose, or they may not know exactly how to say it, or whatever, or something happened to them when they did talk about it, so they think they're trying to save the person. I don't know. But people who don't face the issues or who don't experience them seem uncomfortable with this type of air quotes race politics, right? So why is there a double standard? Ultimately, the issue comes down to how society is marginalized as the voices of Black women and our rights to express discomfort when racial issues come into play. When white cast members like Kyle and Dorit get called out for their behavior, they often deflect and turn it around on Garcelle, making her seem like an instigator when in fact her response was valid and it was an expression of her lived experience. Garcelle's experience is different from her white counterparts, period. And for her to be on there for 5 seasons, strong and long like that, with grace, I think she should be her kudos, right? So when she speaks up about it, it doesn't always land on for others because they automatically get on the defense about how am I going to respond to this Black lady? How's that Garcelle's fault, right? Okay. So Garcelle asserting herself is not race baiting, it's reality. Standing up for unfair treatment, calling out racism or microaggressions or macroaggressions, as I like to call them here on Larger Curves, when you see them, is not race baiting. It's being honest about your reality in a group that refuses to acknowledge layers of race, class, and privilege that are in play. They'll use those layers to their advantage, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't want it to acknowledge. You're just supposed to shut up and let me treat you however I'm about to treat you. And you just be happy that you're here. Because if you say anything, I'm going to say you're race baiting. You're playing a race card. I feel like Garcelle has been justified in her responses. You guys put in the chat, do you guys think that Garcelle has been justified in her responses, or do you feel like it's race baiting? I mean, let me know. Um, Now, as far as this thing that may have happened at the reunion, where Bozo gets told by Sutton that she's angry, and allegedly she turns to Garcelle and says, "You're not going to check your friend for calling me angry? She just was using a microaggression on me." And I'm like, what? What? Did Bozo pull a Anne Marie? Because remember, Anne Marie did the same thing, and she's still crying about it to this day, crying about how Garcelle didn't have her back when the lady called her angry. Well, bitch, talking about a lady's esophagus for 11 episodes when she's begged you to stop. And now to the point where you have to sue the anesthesiologist association because you feel like they went too far and defamed you. So she's suing them. Did you guys know that, Anne Marie Wiley? Because remember, after she attacked Sutton, and then instead of deal with Sutton any further, she decided to turn everything to the nearest black person and hey, Garcelle, you're gonna have to eat this for what your lady right here said, because you driving Miss Daisy, and Daisy just got you in some shit. So I want to know why you're not checking her for calling me angry. And I was like, same thing I'm like now, because you seemed angry, bitch. I don't think like real assessments are any type of that. That's crazy. So I don't really understand how people would think that Garcelle would be responsible for Sutton's words, because I was in a live last night where they were saying that Garcelle is a race baiter, and it was all black people in there pretty much, and they were like so anti Garcelle, and I was like, whoa, what's happening in here? Because they went so far as to not only say she did play the race card with Kyle, but they were like, Bozo is right. She should have said something to Sutton when she called her angry. Like it was her responsibility. And I was like gobsmacked. I was completely gobsmacked, you guys. Because I was like, really? So you guys spend all day walking around, and when your white friend sees your other black friend acting angry and calls him angry, you're supposed to be like, don't call her angry, Karen. You're supposed to do that even though she was acting angry. Like, did you guys see how Bozo and Sutton interacted this season? No, because they didn't. Did you guys know that Sutton brought Bozo on the show? Did you know that? That was her friend of. And she got on there and went right over and put her nemesis, Dorito, on for an ass helmet, talking about, oh, I never watched the show before. But you also never, it never looked like she knew Sutton, except for to correct her in her, how she was acting with Dorit specifically, and in what she thought her friendship should be with Porito, Brokey. And I was really surprised at that, finding out that you brought this lady in and now she's going around saying that you didn't act like I expected or anticipated you to act or something. Well, she didn't expect you to put Dorito on his ass helmet, I'm sure, either. We all got losses, okay? Okay, Miss Marketing. Anyway, let's get into it. So the next part I want to talk about is how I believe Garcelle is not responsible for policing Sutton's words or defending fellow black women, including Anne Marie, who haven't even shown her any real alliance. What Bozo did is to misplace accountability, and it feels performative and strategic, not genuine. Okay. And especially the way she's sitting there between these two white ladies, selling Garcelle, the only other melanated person. Oh, this is your fault. So that distances her further from that melanin, because she's done what the white people usually do, which is look around for the nearest black person and blame that bitch. Right? We're going to get into what that's called too. So there are a few psychological and social dynamics at play here when someone assigns responsibility like that to a person. The responsibility of, you're responsible for what she says, even if it's true. Okay. So first we're going to have, how many are we have? 4. Emotional labor displacement. Bozo is essentially placing the burden of educating Sutton on Garcelle instead of handling it herself. Now, we've seen Garcelle be a boss and handle it all herself. She didn't have no other Black woman. Sorry, here I go. She didn't have any other Black woman to turn to and be like, hey, bitch, check your bitch. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have that luxury. So she should have educated Sutton on how she expects to be treated with Sutton, right? This happens often in workspaces and social spaces where Black women are expected to mediate racial conversations, even when it has nothing to do with them directly. I don't know if you guys have experienced that. I have. There's another thing happening here. It could be scapegoating, which is redirects the focus onto Garcelle. Bozo avoids confronting directly, right? So now she's not an angry, aggressive Black woman. She gets to be angry and aggressive with another person seen equally as angry and aggressive instead of on delicate, fragile porcelain Sutton. You see what I'm saying? So scapegoating, instead of having a one-on-one conversation with Sutton, who brought her on the show, she chooses to publicly assign blame to Garcelle for not correcting Sutton. This puts Garcelle in an unfair position, making her look unsupportive and even complicit when it wasn't her responsibility in the first place. Okay? We also have respectability politics and strategic positioning, which, as a marketing guru, I could see that happening. So if Bozo prides herself on being a corporate titan, which we know she does, this then moves this moves seems to be less about genuine hurt and more about posturing for favor within the Fox Faux Five, the remnants, the leftovers is what we've been calling them here on LRGA Curves ever since the Fox Faux Five broke up. I think I have a picture of it. Let me see. I do have a picture of it. I was going to show it. How can I get to it? Let me see. Oh, that's not the gallery I wanted. That's so cute, though. Him so sweet. Him so sweet, sweet. Okay, you guys. So. So now I can close out, I think. There. So here's the Fox Faux Five. Let's see right here. Remember them? Remember? This is what Lisa Rinna posted when Garcelle announced that she quit. Now, Lisa Rinna and Garcelle had came up in Hollywood together. They were used to model together on their very first modeling gigs back in the day when they were young. And Lisa Rinna, was it Lisa Rinna who introduced Garcelle to the show? Is that how that went? And of course, Lisa Rinna immediately got to getting her knife sharpened in Garcelle's back. But instead of post, oh, good job, my friend, or anything like that, she simply posted Fox 45 forever. That's what she posted on this picture. Let's see. See? Fox Force 5 forever. So if Bozo thinks she's going to be part of this Clicky McClickerson, she has another thing coming, don't you think? I think so. I liked the thought of when melanin pops, because that's what I feel like is happening here. Why is it that I feel like Bozo did herself a disservice by not getting to know Garcelle. Anyway, let's keep on going. She is aligning herself with the remnants of the Foxville Five. Dorito, specifically a longtime Sutton antagonist, right? Erica, a longtime Garcelle detractor. Okay. So she's playing chess seeking real accountability. Plus, she's trying to divide and conquer. So historically, when Black women are placed predominantly white spaces, there's sometimes pressure to compete rather than unite. Because you know how it is, girls. If two of you start having lunch together, they act like it's a gang and tell you need to stagger your lunches when all the other Beckys get to go to lunch together. Have you ever had that happen? Have you ever had that happen? I've worked at several places where if some other Black girls come, we'll start taking lunch together, just like all the other Beckys. Lunch period is from 12 to 1:30, so we'll go at 12, we'll go at 1, whatever we're doing. And they were like, oh, you guys need to stagger. What? And we're like, so nobody else needs to stagger? And then it became, oh, the department needs more people in here, even if we're from different departments. Anyway, that's the kind of shit we go through. So they be doing this divide and conquers where it ends up being a competition instead of a unification. And maybe Bozo intentionally distanced herself from Garcelle to carve out her own space, but I feel like she could have done that and still made a connection with Garcelle. I don't think there was any connection made with Garcelle. I felt like it was so on top with Garcelle, you know? And yeah, anyway, she likes the favor with the group at the expense of throwing Garcelle under the bus. Now, why is this the second time that another Black wife has done this to Garcelle? That's what the thing is. I'm like, look, bitch, you're going to have to start looking at previous episodes because we as viewers don't really like when storylines get regurgitated. We don't like it. We don't like it one bit. Be original. There's enough life for everybody. Go do you, boo. Right? So why is this the second time that the next Black lady that comes into the space that Garcelle is held down and carved and niched and created a crevice for her specific boundaries on how she wants to be treated with these white ladies? Why aren't you responsible to carve your own niche of comfort with these white ladies? She had to do it all by, especially after you made no connection to Garcelle, unless they just didn't play it. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't play it. Maybe there's some stuff on the editing floor that would have made it look too much like they were starting a gang, so they made it look like they didn't know each other. I don't know. That's kind of far-fetched. So why is this the second time? Remember Anne-Marie Wiley? A similar stance. They see Garcelle as a safe target. Since Garcelle is the only long-standing Black housewife, she represents a benchmark, right, for Black women in the group. By challenging Garcelle, it's kind of like being like you get to jail and you challenge the biggest person on the yard that Karen Huger might have had to do. But, just to so nobody makes you drop your soap all the time or whatever it is. So you challenge Garcelle instead of white cast members. And then you also simultaneously avoid being seen as an angry, difficult Black woman by those same people you're seeking approval for because you want this white approval. Whether it's consciously or subconsciously, aligning with dominant group, Kyle, Dorit, Erica, whoever over there, you may feel like it's safer or more advantageous than standing beside Garcelle. But I feel like that's going to backfire because Kyle is a grudge holder, and they were so focused on fucking with Garcelle and Sutton that if all this plays out and Bozo comes back and Kyle doesn't run away into the sunset with Morgan, then there could be an awakening for Bozo in the horizon because Kyle doesn't forget much, and she called Kyle unkind. Remember? I can see Kyle dusting off that horse and acting like it's a reason to take her out, right? Okay. Plus, believe it or not, Bozo, she loves her melanin, but there is too black, right? So maybe um while she seems to overly embrace her blackness, and when I say overly, I mean yaki hair down to the floor is overly embracing your blackness. In a way, it's beautiful and stuff, but that is like way. I mean, I'm not sure who wants all that heat down their back. That is, I tell you, my hair is down to my booty, and freaking this stuff is always up in a bun because it's hot. So I cannot imagine Yaki Kakalani hair. And I hope it's a good, healthy synthetic something, because recently it's been discovered that the carcinogens in the synthetic hair specifically is super detrimental to Black women's health. So anyway, let's go over here. Wanting white approval and not wanting to be too Black. Was it a setup? I think that both ladies set this shit up in the second, in the moment, but it doesn't feel like overly calculated. But then again, Sutton is said that has Sutton and her haven't even really talked. She's been so busy, like literally having ass fittings with Dorito. She hasn't had time to even get to know the ladies. You see how much hair she has. Can you imagine how long a hat fitting is for that head? You know what I'm saying? And it's an ass hat and a bony ass, Doritos ass at that. Anyway, it seems like what the real question is, would Bozo have made this demand of Dorit, let's say, for Sutton? I don't know. Because if Garcelle weren't white, would she have made this demand? I don't believe so. Because she just laughed when Erica Jane said, won't he do it in a black scent? After her jaw dropped on Watch What Happens Live, she laughed at it. So how did you just try to assign Garcelle the ruler of that? I mean, you're supposed to be checking bitches based off your own logic, right? Yeah. She was definitely positioning herself to come for Garcelle further next year. If Garcelle would have stayed, that would have been something they talked about next year. I bet. Um, and if Bozo gets to stay. So I was wondering, what's it called when you look around for the nearest Black person to blame them? And a couple of things came up, because Black people do it to Black people and white people traditionally do it to Black people all the time. Think about all the Black towns that have been burnt down because they were like, a Black person did it and it was a lie. So there's proximity scapegoating, and that occurs when a person, especially a predominantly white or privileged person in privileged spaces, seeks out the nearest Black person to take the fall for a situation, regardless of responsibility. An example of this could be when Bozo could have directly held Sutton accountable for her words, but instead she put Garcelle in a hot seat for not correcting Sutton. Okay. And then there's the minority scapegoat phenomenon, when it particularly happens towards a marginalized person where they're disproportionately blamed for conflict. So that's an example of when Kyle publicly called out Garcelle at a reunion for a mispayment that had already resolved, but doing it the same, but not doing the same for Lisa Rinna's unpaid Elton John ticket, is an example of minority scapegoating phenomenon. Then there's the one black person must be wrong. Like only one of you guys is trustworthy at a time in my house. The other black girl must have stole my wallet that I accidentally left in my drawer. Um, but until I find it, it wasn't you, it was the other black one, right? So the one black person must be wrong bias. In a majority white spaces, when two black people are present, one is often pitted against the other to convert and for the comfort of the dominant group. Because I'm telling you, when there's two or more gathered in his name, there God is, right? Yahusha, right? And they know that that's powerful. They do not like us in two or more. They do not like it, Sam I am. They be all kind of scared. They like break up this gang. I don't know, was that a gang sign you were throwing up? You were showing her your wedding ring. They're like, what gang sign was that? You're showing her your new nail polish. They're like, what gang size was that? Because two or more causes them friction. So for their comfort, they pit one against the other. It's an unconscious bias that prevents solidarity and keeps one black person in a favored position while the other is scapegoated. An example was the moment that Garcelle and Bozo were on the same show. The question became which one would be deemed acceptable. And instead of solidarity, Bozo positioned herself against Garcelle to be seen as the other good one, right? Because, look, I'm like you guys. I don't know why Sutton would have said that. I need some education too. I'm not really. Then we had something called shielding through black blame. Sometimes people use a black person as a shield to deflect attention from their own actions to avoid looking bad. An example, Bozo positioning Garcelle as complicit in Sutton's behavior protects her from confronting Sutton directly. And it wins her points with the Barbie couch, is what I call it. Because Sutton really wanted to be a Barbie the whole time. Garcelle has been a placeholder for her desire to be on the Barbie couch. That's where she's really longed to be this time. Garcelle is a good, loyal, fun time, beautiful, travels well, nice, was nice to your mom, has only done nice things for you and to you, and has had your back at her own expense. And, she's done a lot. Anyway, but the whole time she wanted to be on that Barbie couch. The last thing was performative accountability shifting. That sounds like a mouthful. This happens when someone pretends to care about the social issues, but uses them opportunistically to advance themselves. Instead of addressing actual harm, they weaponize concepts like microaggressions to manipulate public perception. It's called performative accountability shifting pass. So Bozo calling Sutton's comment a microaggression, but not addressing actual racism or exclusion within the group suggests she's using the term selectively to strategically win favor rather than seek real change. Isn't that deep? I think Bozo knew what she was doing. It was calculated. And I don't really believe in the only one syndrome. There are many industries in TV historically that only allow for one Black woman at a time to be in a position of power or favor. And this creates a scarcity mindset where new Black cast members see the veteran as competition rather than an ally. That's the only one syndrome. They say that happened with Tamar and Lonnie Lon. Remember that? There's also strategic assimilation. And instead of challenging the dominant group, you know, which is way riskier when you challenge colonizers on their turf, right? The new cast members often cozy up to them for protection and favor, right? And that's a way to ensure that they're not the ones on the outs. Also, I hope we've all noticed so far that reality TV casting has encouraged this type of conflict. Producers often encourage rifts between cast members because it makes for more dramatic, air quotes, TV. The networks benefit from infighting, right? while the cast member themselves don't realize they're being manipulated in some situations. I think a lot of them do, though. They're smart ladies. Let's see. It's a social pattern, not just on TV. So, I mean, it happens all over the place. We have a type of paper in corporate America where Bose is from. You hire the new black person, they're encouraged to distance themselves. But Bose said she prided herself on hiring women that looked like her. But you guys should go over to Kempire in these YouTube streets because he has audio of people who used to work with Bozo and say that, yeah, she would hire us all right. It wasn't great working for her, but she would hire us. And she didn't stay there long, but she would hire us. But yeah, she didn't really know what she was doing, but she would hire us, right? So their new black women are held to different standards sometimes. They have to prove loyalty to maintain favor. Okay. And proximity to power, which we can also insert whiteness in there, is kind of what it's all about, especially on a cast like Beverly Hills. If they're not gonna get more DEI, which I guess is off the table now. If they're not gonna be doing that, then yeah, I guess it's just gonna be one at a time, pick them off one at a time. I guess that's what we're about to get over there because it's interesting. It's interesting. Now, I don't know, are you guys gonna be looking forward to next season already for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Are you feeling like Bozo is a great addition? Are you going to miss Garcelle? Why don't you guys put it in the chat while I look at some of these comments? Let me scroll. I got to scroll far. Oh, wow. That's far. Okay. Thanks for being here, everybody. Allie from Miami's in the house. You couldn't stand Amory either, Darren. That's right. Couture Bay says Bozo really played dirty. Yep, Bozo, she sure did. Thanks for being here, Couture. Apple Charm says when she was screamed at the reunion and she still showed grace. Yep. Oh, I forgot about Flip, Leisha, and Rena. I was screaming at Anne-Marie like, are you kidding me? With her tomfoolery. Exactly, DT. Happy Thursday, everybody. Apple Charm remembers. Kathy Farron's in the house. Poor Rito could never take accountability. And I really hated watching her sit there and whitewash history. I was like, so this is how it happens? I felt like I was literally watching whitewashing a history, the way that poor Rito would sit there and trauma dump onto Bozo um, her side of how things have been happening to her and how egregious everything is, but not saying nothing about anything that she did, not saying nothing about nothing that she did. Nothing to see here, folks. I have no idea why Seton's crazy and on the rampage. Nothing to see here. I mean, I only called her an alcoholic for 2 years. Other than that, there's nothing to see here. But it was a lot more stuff than that because she didn't start calling her an alcoholic till the last 2 seasons. And the first season Sutton was on, she was telling damn poor Rito to let the mouse go at that table. Remember? She was like, let the mouse go. You've been fucking with me all season. Remember? So it's been bad over there. Let's see. Poor Rito, yes. Yes, loud AF. I love it. Hey, Curvies. Garcelle is always above board, and she just says how she, yeah, with a lady, like a lady with grace. I love how Garcelle left these mean girls in the dust, leaving on a high, right? Leave on a high. She left the club before it was closed. She left the club before the lights came on. That's how you know you're a cute bitch. She left the club before the lights came on. There was no lot lizard happening over there. No, no, no. No, no, no. She left on a high. I'm married to a Cuban American, and I can say At first, he looked at me like, oh, hello at first. Nah. Oh, and not good, y'all, but kindness goes a long way. Treat people with respect, and it does better. Oh, yeah, it does. Totally. It does. I agree with you, Kathy. And so do I. Hey, Q. Thanks for coming through. She's been justified, Darren. I agree. Irked my soul. Agree. Just got back from the food doctor, steroid injection in your foot. Oh, wow. I hope that helped alleviate the pain and inflammation adequately. I still haven't seen it yet. Bozo said that. That's what they're saying. They are saying that Bozo, the reunion hasn't aired. So go to Kempire. Here, let me find it. I'm going to find it on Kempire. Kempire. Because he said that the whole all kinfolk ain't skinfolk thing was let's see where'd it go. Okay, this right here. Copyright disclaimer under section under section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. We're going to be listening to this. Fair use. Listen at this.
Where do I begin in regards to this? I wasn't surprised at the news that Garcelle was not returning because, according to sources, I told you, I've been hinting at this since I dropped that video when Garcelle posted on her social media the day after the reunion, not all skinfolk are kinfolk. Here we go now.
Oh, I don't want to play his thingamabob.
I was like, okay, I'll give you that because Garcelle never put a name on it. Garcelle never confirmed it. But then I started getting tea from multiple sources about what went down at this reunion. And I told you what went down. And if you've been following our recaps of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we've had people call in and confirm the tea that I've heard when it comes to Bozo and her history, alleged history in corporate America, allegedly, and how she's treated people there. Okay? So then it just kind of confirmed. I was like, wait, okay. And I heard Bozo did a fantastic job at this reunion. But I also heard that Garcelle was blindsided by Bozo at this reunion, allegedly. So when Bozo did that E-Talk interview and she says, I didn't know what Garcelle meant by the post, not all skinfolk are your kinfolk. She didn't think anything of it until fans were saying something of it. I didn't think it was about me until people started saying it was about me, because then I was trying to do the math and be like, now carry the 5 minus the 7. Where did I do that? Because the thing is that, right? Unless Garcelle says to me, girl, this is about you, I'm going to leave it where it is. Good for you. One thing that I have been very careful about, especially as a storyteller, is not to pit the two Black girls against each other. Yes. People were like, oh, now we have a new Black girl, so she can go. They start saying that almost immediately. And I was like, but why is that? And by the way, we're not the same. There's an allowance for 4 white women. Why can't there be 2 Black women? Yes, you did. Because you know exactly what you did at that reunion. You know exactly what you brought up at that reunion. So we already know what was brought up during the season in regards to Dorit's burglary. We know that, right? So that comes up again at the reunion. And of course, because Dorit and Bozo have a friendship, that's brought up again, and Bozo defends Dorit. And allegedly, from what I'm hearing, says if it was me, I would have sued you. What? For defamation. But it doesn't end there. There was something that Sutton said in one of the after shows in regards to Bozo, and I guess the interaction between her and Bozo. I can't remember which one, but we talked about it briefly during one of our recaps in regards to Sutton saying, you know, not calling Bozo exactly angry, but I forgot her exact words. I don't want to mix it up because I don't have it in front of me. But Bozo brings that up, but turns it on Garcelle, allegedly. Turns it on Garcelle as if she said this in front of you and you did nothing. Yup. I've been sitting on that for weeks because I wasn't sure if they were going to talk about it. But what I also heard, Garcelle was so blindsided, allegedly, by what went down, okay? So blindsided that she left the reunion and said, I quit. Woo! I've been sitting on that for weeks. So I wasn't shocked when I saw the announcement. I was just waiting. I thought she might have changed her mind, to be honest with you. And I know Garcelle gave it a lot of thought, and yes, she did what a lot of us do. She's not going to go burning down the house before she leaves. She's going to not burn that bridge with Bravo, okay? She's not going to burn that bridge with Bravo. Someone says Bozo is the other black girl, the other Hulu show that is on that Garcelle is a star in on Hulu. Just like, she's booked and busy. So, as I said to you before, I heard this, but then I started hearing all this other stuff about people saying things about Bozo, allegedly. And then, as you know, we've had people call in and confirm, oh, yeah, I worked with her at Apple. Yeah, I know someone that worked with her at this particular place and blah, 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 blah. And she comes in saying that she wants to, give diversity and she has favorites, and those favorites are never black people. I was just like, oh. I was like, okay. Allegedly. Look, everything that I'm saying is alleged. We shall see how the reunion plays out. But as I said to you before, I wasn't surprised that Garcelle decided this. And I know, and I'm not going to say this for a fact, even though in my heart, read between my lines right now. What lines? Look, read between the lines. Garcelle was ready to return. And Sutton, word on the street, Sutton didn't have Garcelle's back during this reunion. Yup. Is that why Garcelle did not go out with Sutton after the reunion? Don't normally they go out after the reunion? You notice that Sutton posted that photo. She was with her gays, and Garcelle wasn't there. Well, Garcelle was fed up. Garcelle did not want to see anyone or anything, and I think that's why I haven't seen a group photo. Has anyone seen a group photo yet? I haven't seen a group photo. If anything, that's confirming for me that she really up and hightailed out of that reunion, saying, "I quit." Don't ever say I can't hold a secret. I've been sitting on that for weeks. Well, not that long. How many weeks? The 28th. So my intuitive nature, I told you, I was like, something's, because everyone's saying that post was about Anna Marie. That post was about Anna Marie. And everyone's like, don't pit the two black women against you. I'm not pitting anyone against anyone. How about the black women support each other on this show instead of throwing one under the bus for a white woman? How about that? But we shall see. We'll see. I'm sure the trailer will drop. But, everybody, Bozo did a fantastic job at the reunion. Mm-hmm. Until y'all try to throw her under a bus next season. So the real reason that Garcelle is leaving, I do believe part of what made her decide was her family, because of how her family has been treated since being on the show. Her son did not want to film. Jax did not want to film this season because of the abuse that he received on social media and bullied. So I'm sure that was another indication for her. I think the reunion really was just the cherry on top for Garcelle in regards to why she decided to leave. So they're in their last year of high school. Fantastic. And look, Garcelle does have a lot.
So that's what he said. Now let's go over here. And I'll tell you what Andy said. Because everybody was speculating whether or not Garcelle actually quit or was she fired. People always want to act like people are fired. Garcelle said she quit. She looked very happy doing it. She gave us a great season. There's no reason to think that this would be the first time in history that somebody got fired before the reunion even aired all the way. That's never happened. Never has it ever happened. That's why I feel like Candace really quit. They were bitter about it, so they didn't say what Andy's about to say here for this one, Garcelle, because you'll hear why I feel like he might not have gone there with Garcelle, because she talked to him first. Candace just did it. But here we go. This is Adam, Up and Adam, shout out. He has the audio for what
serious
Andy said.
Conversation before she was on Watch What Happens Live. Oh. She had a reunion that you will see play out. And I'm not going to, you'll just watch it. But she didn't, it was not, she ended in a not good place. And she and I were texting and she kept saying, I will speak to you in New York. And so we got together about an hour before her live show. And she and I really hashed things out. And she let me into where, you know, her head was at. And there was not only stuff with the show, but, you know, she's got the kids are entering their senior year. Yeah. And I really respect the fact that she really, it was a very real, it was one of the most real conversations that, you know, that it ended where it ended. But I would say it ended with her saying, I'm going to choose kind of my life. Love. And that's, I love it too. And that's why also I was like, look, you know, call us in a year, by the way, if you feel like it, and see where you're at. He had
Okay. Andy Cohen is saying something completely from.
So that is straight from Andy. And you know, Andy knows what's up. So Andy said that they had a talk. She told him she was going to be doing it. And then she did it. He didn't say we had a talk. And I told her, you know, you walking out of the reunion is a bad thing to do. And da-da-da-da-da. No, he said that the door's open. Maybe you should just take some time. And I see you later, babe. So I hope that puts those rumors to rest. Let's see. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about when melanin pops, about the race card situation, about race baiting, and about just plain old racism that was happening over here on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Unfortunately, with this melanated goddess gone, and this melanated goddess all too willing to wear ass helmets. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And you heard from the Kimpire tape that people who worked with her said, yeah, she would hire him, but then she would treat him otherly and go hang out with Karen. So, hey, there you have it. Allegedly, that's what they were saying. I agree. But Bianca Bose came for the wrong person. Now the people who love the show are side-eyeing Bose. Exactly. Especially but a whole lot of Black people love that she came and did this to Garcelle. You know, there's a whole tribe in this YouTube streets that just was never checking for Garcelle. So they are very, very happy. Darren Hood says, if Bozeman wasn't so far off Doritos behind, I would have left her. Exactly, Darren. That's what I said. For her whole shtick to be marketing, I'm like, and then she's all, my biggest product, me, my greatest product, me. And then your storyline is you want to be a baby's mom to a man that hasn't told you he loved you. And turncoating on the next Black lady. While wearing an ass helmet, a bony ass helmet named Porito. Is that like great marketing or what? She didn't market anything. As far as herself, she didn't market anything except for hair. Okay, so she did market 20-foot hair. She marketed that. But as far as like getting to know you, getting to know all about you, we didn't get to do that. Was it all about the hair? Was this all a bundle sale? Was this to sell bundles? Is that what you were marketing, was just your bundles? Because we didn't get to know you, darling. We kind of know Garcelle after all these years. Okay? It was interesting. Yeah, if you're enjoying this, support. Yeah, Cash App, right on. I appreciate that. Bozo's nose should be brown at this point because she's had it way up Porrito's behind. Yep, exactly. The verdict is still out on Bozo because she was too far up on Dorito's behind. Yep, Garcelle just says it how it is. And I respect that too, Kathy. I haven't seen either. Watch that Boz Porrito's bodyguard. Yeah, that was crazy. Let's see. Let's go down to the bottom. Bianca says, we know these YouTube streets are idiots. No, allegedly for me on that one. Garcelle did no wrong, in my opinion. Me too. I'm like, that's crazy. But they were calling me Delulu in that chat last night. They were like, why are you always on the wrong side, Larja? I'm like, I'm not a hive mind bitch. I'm not a hive mind. I'm not. I'm divergent. I'm super divergent. Okay? I'm not just going to pile on and because okay, here's how I think of it too. So if I say that Garcelle has to be responsible for what Sutton says to Bozo, then that means I have to spend the rest of my days going around checking Karens all day. I got stuff to take care of. How is that for me to do? I got stuff to take care of. Right? Yeah, we love a good debate. I was holding my own for a while, and then look, girl, I went to bed because it was I like kind of fell asleep with it on. It was like around 10 p.m. California time, and this person's on the East Coast. And I went to bed, and then I got up at like 6 this morning, and they were still on. The timer said started 10 hours ago. I came in the chat. I was like, and the title of the video had been is Garcelle race baiting or playing the race card or something. I was like, it shouldn't take 10 hours to prove your point. Therefore, Garcelle did not do what you said. It was funny. It was hilarious. They were just there all freaking night. We know the facts. Yes, it's interesting. I'm glad that Andy did that, Darren. So glad. Have a great night. Right on to the game and exchange. Right on. Have a fun Q. Yeah, now let's watch this ship resync. The ratings weren't great this season. Every franchise have their day, exactly. I don't blame Garcelle one bit. Shame on you, Sutton. Yes, Bozo is such a freaking weirdo liar. That's not what that answer implied, that she gave that long-winded answer about how, oh, there's 4 women that can exist and da da da. She didn't say, oh, but I tell all the black people I hire to go around and check the Karens for me in the office. She didn't say that. There should have been a disclaimer. Anyway, you guys, we've been on here long enough. Thanks for coming through. I hope you enjoyed this race relations. Oh, yeah, no, you know, one more thing I needed to show you. One more thing was that Porrito, newest friend, let's see, after receiving backlash for the little diss that she did to Garcelle on the Watch What Happens Live, in the photos from Watch What Happens Live, she posted this. She had like 15 photos of her on Watch What Happens Live. And then she posted this. And it's like, I don't know, this is like some corporatese kind of bullshit. This also is very lacking any connection. And just listen to it from through corporate ears. Listen, it's like nothing specific, not too personal, you know. Like just on top, but I'm gonna send this with some flowers so your family thinks we gave a fuck about you. Okay? So to Garcelle for your pioneering bravery and grace in 5 seasons of Real Housewives Beverly Hills. Well done. I wish we'd had more time together on this platform to continue showing the world that both of us can exist in the same space with different offerings and different opinions and besties in parentheses. But still, find a way to resolve our differences without tearing the world apart, and that we were able to shine bright together and individually too. You're leaving on your terms. And while I'm disappointed by your exit, it is commendable. I'm wishing you even greater success onward. With respect, Bozo. And then she posted this picture with her in the front seat and Bozo in the back seat. You guys, that's a big sorry, not sorry. That was not like, I wish we'd have more time together. Yeah, well, you had like 15 episodes to say hi to a bitch. And look, in this case, she was supposed to speak to Garcelle. Has been in the room longer. You're new in this room. You come up to me, you say, hi, oh my God, so nice to meet you. I've seen what you've done with the place now, or something, some acknowledgement instead of full on ignore and a fucking icon. Look, just because you worked in corporate America does not make you more of an icon than Garcelle motherfucking Bouvet. Okay? Unless you're singing Drew Sidor's new song, Delusional, Dear Delusional, you're losing your mind. Because no, bitch. Corporate America is not fancy. Corporate America is not her coming to America. Corporate America is not all these movies that she's producing and her freaking contributions to the freaking modeling world and her freaking philanthropist ways. Okay. Okay. And if you happen to have more money than her, so be it. It still doesn't make you more of an icon than Garcelle motherfucking Bouvet. Miss, we could have both shined bright. I don't know how you expect to shine with your head up Dorit's ass. Up, and it looks like your nose is in Erica's. That's not a cute visualization that I just said. I know it's not, but that's what it's given. Bozo energy. Bozo the clown energy. Big. And she looks just like Grace Jones reincarnated. It's crazy. And I love her. She's a gorgeous woman. I'm just talking shit on this whole turned it around on Garcelle thing. She's gorgeous. I love her. Takes a lot of courage. Doozy doo, wah, 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 blah, blah, blah. But as far as you turning it around on Garcelle, bitch? Really, bitch? For a bony ass helmet and the likes of Erica Puss Patton Jane, she's about to have an indictment. Your two besties, one's about to claim bankruptcy and the other one's about to be in an indictment allegedly. And Kyle's about to ride off into the sunset with Morgan. And then where are you going to be? You're going to finally talk to Sutton Nice? You think Kathy will let you in the house after you talk shit about her sister this season? Not after Kyle makes a big deal about it. She'll put her guard up with you too. You come in her house telling her that Kyle's whatever. Okay. If you're ugly on the inside, the outside shines as shut. The outside shines as such. That's a freaking tongue twister. Wait. If you're ugly on the inside, the outside shines as such. 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 Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, 10 hours to defend. It's a long time. That's a long time to be on there talking about that. That's a long time. Yeah, that was such a tongue twister. Oh my gosh. I love you guys. Okay, Curvies. Make sure you smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, ring the bell so you can get notified, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.